Hi everybody, welcome back to the Swiftie Salon. I'm Emily.
I'm Dani.
And I'm Lauren.
We are so happy to have you here. The Swiftie Salon is a space to channel the endless thoughts that we have on Taylor's work by taking a look back through her lyrics. Like the salons of the Enlightenment period, we hope this can become a space for Swifties to gather and talk about the music, share in how it relates to our lives, connect with others from all walks of life, and build a loving community. So that's you. Thanks for joining us. On the topic of how it relates to our lives, I do have to kick off our So Long London episode with a life update. Before we go into So Long London, I just want to update the 5 of you who currently listen to us, and I love all 5 of you. Mm-hmm. In our first ever episode, I mentioned my partner of 6 years and how he would be contributing to the podcast and Patreon as a newer Swiftie. Unfortunately, that relationship ended last week, right after we recorded our episodes for My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys and Down Bad. So apt, fitting, and even more fitting that this week we'll be discussing So Long London. So I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say I didn't see this coming. It's pretty raw. I do intend to respect his privacy, and I take seriously the responsibility of sharing my lived experiences in hopes it can provide resonance or comfort to others. So even if that only reaches a few people, that's good with me. Thank you for giving me grace as I deal with this. I think this process will be very cathartic for me. So I'm glad to have you two by my side. I'm glad to have you, the Swiftie Salon, with me as the Tortured Poets department becomes incredibly relevant to my personal life, unfortunately. So thank you for that. And thanks again for hearing me out. So with that said, shall we get into the song?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
Today we are dissecting So Long London.
A track 5. A track 5.
A track 5. We've made it, everyone.
We've made it. So for those of you who don't know the lore, which might be none of you, but just in case somebody's not familiar with like the track 5 significance in the Taylor Swift mythology, just want to quickly explain that it was pointed out by the fans like relatively early in Taylor's career of like, hey, we've noticed that track 5s tend to be the most emotional songs or the most vulnerable songs on the album. And Taylor picked up on that and was like, you're right. And so it became an intentional thing. So from that point forward, which do you remember what point that was? I feel like it was around the Red era.
I think so, because I think All Too Well kind of solidified it with
right.
folks.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed, numerous times in past episodes now, All Too Well was that girl.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, people took notice then of like, I think every track 5, she's trying to really say something really emotional, really powerful. And then, the track 6 is usually an upper from that.
Yes, exactly.
Point. So,
yeah. So now the fans know that track 5s are intentionally her most vulnerable song. That doesn't always mean the most like sad song.
No.
But generally speaking is something that's the most personal to her in ways we either do know or don't know about. And so that's So Long London for this album. So what did you guys think before the album came out when you saw that the title of track 5 is So Long London? How did you guys feel? I mean, the title shot me on sight.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's like...
Should I read my notes? I said, and I quote, real raggy, this is going to be a journey.
Yes. I said this title had the same directness of like Fearless Speak Now era Taylor. Like in 2024 was not expecting to see something that was so evidently what it was.
Especially since we knew that she had such a connection to London and she's lived there. She might even still live or have a house there. And with London Boy and, there's some English references through many of her songs. So yeah, I think this was a stab for sure.
Yeah. Yes, big time. So what did we think when we heard it for the first time? What were your first reactions?
Ouch. With an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Again, quoting my notes. Ouch.
Yes.
And then, my next note is definitely sadder than I thought it would be initially. I thought this maybe would have been a bit more bitter about things, but truly it was about the decay of this relationship and that feeling of finally giving up after trying so hard again. Ouch. I truly expected it to be kind of like a more bitter take on the ending that happened, but I I think it's more heartbreaking than bitter.
I was
personally.
pleasantly surprised by the nuance of the song and the
Yeah.
love and care
Absolutely.
that was put into it.
Yeah,
Like,
there is like a respect that she has, like, speaking about this. Like, yes, it is heartbreaking, and she like visually describes some like crazy things in this that allude to what that heartbreak felt like. But I still feel like she's speaking about it with respect.
Mhm.
Like, that it did happen, it did end, and it's heartbreaking. But I mean, we'll get into the lyric, but you know, you will find someone. It's still like hopeful for that person to like move on in the end, and not just, you hurt me, I'm like getting all of my rage filled out, a la a later track on this album, Smallest Man Who Ever Lived.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What did you think, Dani?
I mean, the choir is, I was shocked. That choir in the beginning, the choir like sound that she is doing herself already in the beginning. You're like, oh boy. And then she talks about herself in the first two lines. And then in the third line says pulled him in tighter each time he was drifting away. And I was like, oh, it's going to be that. Got it. It's going to be ouch. It's going to be a stab with each line after this.
I mean,
Got it.
I was expecting something like Dear John, which, you know, has a lot of sadness in it, but is also a diss track, you know?
It is. Yeah.
And we have diss tracks on this album, but it's not so Long London. It feels like a very tender and, you know, goes through like the emotions of anger and regret and betrayal and sadness. But it never does it in a way that feels cruel. Not to say that Dear John is cruel. I think, you know, the situation in Dear John is something, unfortunately, a lot of women go through and have a right to be very angry about. This is kind of different. This is a more, I don't know, contemplative look back at a relationship that didn't work out.
Well, dare I say that she's older now.
True.
So she's processing these, you know, tragic feelings through the lens of a 30-something-year-old versus, you know, how old she was when she wrote Dear John. So, you know, having lived more life and having gained a bit more maturity over the years, I think has also made it so that she can write about this in a bit more of an eloquent way, instead of just, again, like this like very bitter, I don't know, just beyond the "you're mean" lyrics. She can kind of dive a little bit deeper than that now that she has matured.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I want to caveat before we jump into the song. Again, we do not paternity test. We don't talk about songs being about somebody because we will never know. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that this is, again, going to be coming from a lyrical analysis, a writing, a production, and all of that.
And I can certainly talk about how it feels to end and lose a 6-year relationship. So we'll hear about that from me. But yeah, definitely agree with Dani that we don't want to go too far into speculating about her personal life.
While we're ready, we can lyric analysis now.
Yeah.
I can read us the first verse.
Yeah.
So it is, I saw in my mind fairy lights through the mist. I kept calm and carried the weight of the rift, pulled him in tighter each time he was drifting away. My spine split from carrying us up the hill, my gosh. Wet through my clothes, weary bones caught the chill. I stopped trying to make him laugh, stopped trying to drill the safe.
Okay, I have to talk about fairy lights through the mist first.
Yes.
So, I mean, first of all, fairy lights kind of evokes like Scottish folklore for me, like in the Highlands, like those fairy pools and just like the will-o'-the-wisps, like that kind of, like there's that, but I also think in a more literal sense, seeing in my mind fairy lights through the mist, to me, that's kind of like, that's the light that's carrying you through this dark period in your relationship. Yep. Like you are seeing in her mind, which means it's not real, but in your mind, you're like, I can still see the little things that were magical about what we had through the mist. So if we just get through the mist, we'll be back to the lights again.
Right. Like that guiding light is like your hope that we can weather the storm. I mean, you know, there's a lot of like ship imagery here. We can weather the storm and we can get to the light parts again. We can get to the happy points of our relationship again if we just stick it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I kept calm and carried is like a little British entendre for keep calm and carry on.
Yes.
Right. And carried the weight of the rift. I mean, that definitely speaks to me of feeling like you are shouldering the burden of the relationship and you are the one who's trying to save it. But it's obviously very heavy to carry by yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then Dani, you pulled him in tighter each time he was drifting away,
yes,
right?
I did.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Ooh, I mean, I pointed out all the analogies that she uses in this song to describe losing him and trying to grab him, trying to save, like we just talked about, how trying to save the relationship. So I put in segments in these first 3 lines that we just talked about, I said boat analogy. And then the next 3 of this verse, I put hiking analogy. and then a couple like the next verse 2, I put CPR analogy. Like all of these different
so
like segments of ways to describe you trying to hold on to something that is just leaving.
Dare I quote the fray, "How to Save a Life."
Oh my gosh.
I just did that, and the year is 2025. So the fray, I hope you're still out there and doing well.
Pulled him in tighter each time he was drifting away is heartbreaking because it kind of alludes to a people pleaser kind of mentality of, well, if I do more things for you, you'll come back. It also actually, as I'm saying this, kind of reminds me of, I just lost it. It kind of reminds me of "'Cause you should have seen him when he first saw me."
Oh, my boy breaks.
Like thinking that, well, if we go back to that, if I pull, how do I pull him back in?
If we just get back to how we started.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's such a sad notion of you can see that somebody is, losing their interest or losing their investment or losing their even ability. Maybe they want to, save the relationship, but they can't. They're just not capable. And you're trying to no, come back here, come back. We can do it.
Yeah.
My spine split from carrying us up the hill makes me think of Sisyphus with the boulder.
Yes.
In Greek mythology, Sisyphus, who is doomed to just push that boulder up the hill. I think she mentions this in Thank You, Amy, as well, more directly. Yeah. But it makes me think of just that, the weight of the burden of pushing something and being doomed to do that forever. You're never going to get a reprieve from the physical weight of that. And so my spine split from carrying us up the hill, even though that more evokes the imagery of she's carrying both of them in the relationship. I don't know. It just makes me think of Sisyphus a little bit of a realization that you are never going to stop pushing that boulder up the hill.
Ooh. Well, and she does this thing in this song, especially I talk about, I love the way that she describes imagery in her music.
Of course, yes.
The imagery that she describes in this particular song is so, I guess, representative of what that heartbreak and what that decaying of this thing that was once great feels like. My spine split from carrying us up the hill. Wet through my clothes, weary bones caught the chill. How this, she could just say it was uncomfortable to be around you or something, but you just have this picture in your mind of just being so deeply uncomfortable and just not, you don't feel right. Your clothes are wet. You caught the chill. It's all of these crazy visual kind of pictures that she's putting in your brain with this song, and I think it's so beautiful.
It is also the notion of weary bones caught the chill. It's not just you've fallen ill from being out in the cold. It's come down with the fever. Yeah, it's weary bones. Yeah. You're already brittle, and also caught the chill doesn't just evoke an illness to me. It evokes becoming cold to the relationship itself.
Right. And then she mentions, and we'll get to that line later. She does mention a heath, which I evoke with warmth, but just this thing that brought you so much light and so much warmth and so much happiness is the flame is going out. You're not.
Wait, do you mean hearth? like a fire stalker?
House by the Heath.
Yes, no,
I left all you knew you left me at the house. But she's referring to her.
Thinking, okay,
the Heath is a part of England. That's I was like a neighborhood in London.
Lauren, that is correct.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry to call you out like that. I was just like, what? Like, I got lost. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah,
you're okay. You're okay. I mean, your point is still like coldness.
Yeah,
you know what else is cold? London.
I mean,
and rainy and dreary
and gloomy, dreary London. But yeah, I love the imagery in this song. I revisit it like from time to time, and I just like sit there and I said I like listen to lyrics with my eyes closed. And this one, if you listen with your eyes closed and you're really imagining what she's talking about, you understand how like deeply painful this was.
Definitely,
so, yeah.
I stopped trying to make him laugh, stop trying to drill the safe. You are trying to talk to this person and get them to open up, and it's just not working. Yeah. It feels like a safe. You are locked up.
Yep.
Yes.
You're trying to like bank robbery, like drill the safe, like all those crazy heist movies, and it's just never going to work.
But also like let me in.
Yeah. If any of you have been in that situation where you are trying to talk to your partner and they just do not want to talk about anything and they're closing up like a safe, it is the most uncomfortable, awkward, hurtful, questionable place to be in.
Yeah.
I feel for her.
Just what if you didn't know that there was a safe? What if they hid the safe from you and then dropped it on your head?
Yeah.
So,
ladies, you heard it here first.
I mean, I went through something similar where, this kind of blindside thing, you definitely feel that way. And you're, that question that you ask yourself of how, was my reality just totally skewed? Was I somehow painting like this different picture in my head of what was going on, or like was I seeing the whole thing through rose-colored glasses?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna fall apart when we get to LML because there are a lot of sentiments on this album of feeling like you saw something completely different and you had no idea. You were shit talked under the table, one could say. So yeah, I'm sorry that we relate to this one.
I know.
I'm sorry, Dani, too.
And, the folklore girlies are like,
yeah, we're deep in the woods now. We are not out of them. We are in the woods.
Yeah. This is why we have Taylor.
Yeah,
this is why she writes these songs.
Yes, yeah.
It's true. It's really like, I think about what she said on the Eras tour about how Tortured Poets was a lifeline for her. Mm-hmm. And now it gets to be a lifeline for me. So, I mean, that's the generosity of art. That's the importance of art. I'm glad that we have somebody of our generation who understands that and does that. Yeah. So, yeah. But, man.
Because who is doing it? Cricket.
Like her?
Who is doing it like her? Yeah. Tell me. Cricket.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's some great ones.
Hosier. But I'm just gonna call him out.
I mean, I could call out a lot of people who also are great confessional songwriters. But yes, I mean,
I'm like, hello.
Okay, but who did it first?
Well, I'm sorry.
Here we go.
We can't win. I'm sorry.
To backsass other artists.
No, never.
I'm just saying, like, Taylor has like a very particular way that she like discusses like heartbreak and longing and just like these lyrics that resonate with anybody who listens to it. And I will argue, like, I don't like the argument of just like, I don't like Taylor Swift. Okay, great. Like, I understand that. Maybe she's not your favorite, but why don't you like her? And they're like, well, I don't like, and then insert like the radio track 22. Okay, great. Like, have you heard anything? Right. Okay. I'm not here to slam.
I'm sorry. I love 22.
But my
Shake It Off.
Yeah. Right, Shake It Off.
What's like I also really love Shake It Off
track. Yeah, just a very popular radio track. It gets played, in all the department stores. And people get sick of it. I get it. Like, if something's overplayed, I get it. But then my follow-up question is, okay, great. Is that all you've listened to? And sometimes the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just encourage folks who haven't kind of deep dived into her discography to like kind of take a couple minutes to listen to these
I'm
or just read
so
the
sorry.
lyrics.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My show just won a GLAAD award.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh!
Wait,
Sorry,
what
sorry,
the
sorry.
fuck?
Oh my gosh, sorry. My head writer's at the GLAAD Awards tonight, and she just texted our group chat that we just won a GLAAD award. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
So sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No,
I saw that pop in and I was like, wait a minute.
Oh my god, sorry. If I can just sob for a second, like this team, this show, Jurassic World Chaos Series season 3 comes out April 3rd on Netflix. Please stream. This team is so special. Like the fact that we've not worked on this show for such a long time and we still talk every day. We hang out all the time. Like that's rare to find on a show in Hollywood. Not that there aren't great crews, but just at last when it's over is so special. So sorry, I'm very emotional. This means a lot to me. Yes. Sorry, this has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. And it's so cool to be part of a show that is so diverse. And we also won an award a while ago for best like queer relationship that doesn't like make it about like their problems are not about the fact that they're queer. They have just like relationship problems that everybody experiences, which like that's a very high point of pride for me. So to see this show get recognized in the GLAAD space just means a lot. It means so much. Okay, wow.
And we're back.
Lauren, I'm so sorry I so rudely interrupted you. Please go back with your thought.
If anything, that was a great thing to be interrupted by. So
thank you.
Fantastic news. Everybody in the comments, please congratulate Emily and the team.
And the team.
Chaos Theory. Because that is so cool. Yeah, I mean, I kind of said my point already that like she's like a very like I guess like specific artist, like in the way that she speaks about heartbreak and longing and loss and all of these like deep emotions. I go to her to, you know, get that out, if that makes sense. Where like other artists like also speak about it, but like in a very different way. But she's like a very specific, like I need her for a specific thing. I know that Taylor's going to deliver.
For sure. I mean, I think it's also, I saw even like a debate today, I think on the Taylor Swift subreddit where someone was saying to a fan that Taylor Swift is not deep. And I'm like, first of all, no. But second of all, I think like depth is relative. And I also think depth is not always good. There are some works that out there that are so dense and so heavy for the sake of themselves, and that doesn't necessarily make them good. It can. I'm just saying it's like, it's relative. And same for Taylor. Like, I think the skill of being able to write in a way that is so universally relatable, that so many people, millions and millions of people, connect with her music because it reminds them of their lives, as this song is reminding me of my own life right now.
Yeah.
That is hard to do. That is extremely hard to do. That is a skill, and I think it doesn't get enough credit because she also makes it so accessible. I think accessibility is also a skill. That's a lot easier said than done, to say something poignant, like my spine split from carrying us up the hill, in a way that is digestible and the listeners immediately know the feeling that she's describing without her saying the feeling. That is hard to do. So yeah, I'm with you, Lauren.
Yeah. So next part is thinking, and how much sad did you think I had, did you think I had in me? Oh, the tragedy. So long, London, you'll find someone.
Okay. So, Taylor questions. This is one of my favorite devices in a Taylor Swift song. She will ask a question that is so devastating. And I mean, she literally made a song about it called Question, which we talk about a lot because Dani loves that song.
Yes. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Once we enter our Midnights era.
I'm looking forward to that too. But like I really enjoy it when she poses a question in her lyricism that like I pretty much think is almost always rhetorical. And what she's really doing is putting us in her mindset and like putting some insight into a situation that she was going through. So in this case, how much sad did you think I had in me? That's a crazy question, right? That's saying like, how long did you want me to suffer? How long were you okay with putting me through hell? How long do you think I could endure it? Were you testing that? That's... Yeah, I just love watching Dani's face.
The big sigh, yeah.
Yeah,
A deep sigh.
Whoever this is, it's on site.
For legal reasons. No.
But
no, it's on site.
But yes, I understand that. I think it's like, life is hard. Shit happens.
Extremely, yeah.
Things are always going to go through periods of, peaks and valleys, right? Sometimes you're at the summit, sometimes you're in the valley and you have to start over and climb to the top again. Like, that's life. And I think it's important in a relationship and a partnership to have somebody who can withstand those things with you.
Yeah.
But if they are the ones causing it, then what? And I'm not saying, you should just leave. Sometimes you need to stick by your partner in hard times.
Absolutely.
But that is a question for how long. How long is okay? How long is healthy? How long is safe? And I'm speaking generally here. Like, I think that's kind of a question that happens in any relationship that deals with mental health, which is more and more common these days in the times that we live in, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel that of like, is this something we can get through and get to the other side and get back to when he first saw me, get back to those fairy lights? Or is it always going to be this way? And is this, is it right for me to leave? Or should I help you through this? Should I believe in it? I just think...
Right, like how much do I need to hold out for?
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah.
Do you want me to? Or like, how long am I expected to, I suppose?
Yeah. It's a hard question. Because
there's no real answer.
Yes.
I guess. It's not like, all right, 3 months is like the cutoff. Or right. You can't say that.
Yeah.
Because everybody's journey is different. But yeah, that's what makes it so hard is there's no right answer to this.
Exactly. There is no right answer. But it's a sad question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the tragedy. So now we're in Shakespearean tragedy, which of course the Globe is in London, and Shakespeare's plays were performed there. And, I just think like this is kind of a Shakespearean tragedy because she's kind of like foreshadowing what's coming with like the 2 graves, 1 gun, which is very Romeo and Juliet. Mm-hmm. It's a little varied, but just the idea of the lovers die. And like Romeo and Juliet is interesting because, of course, Taylor has a long storied relationship with Romeo and Juliet in her discography. Mm-hmm. But also, in the beginning of that play, the chorus comes out and they tell you it's a tragedy. It's, the whole point of the show is dramatic irony. And dramatic irony is a device of, it's like Titanic. The ship's going to sink. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's coming. That Romeo and Juliet are going to die. That's not a twist. That's not a surprise. Mm-hmm. What's horrible is having to watch the love story unfold and watch them be happy and know that it's
doomed.
That's doomed. That's the heartbreak. Mm-hmm. So I think I might, again, be building a mountain out of a lyric, but that's what this makes me think of is like, now we as the listener are hearing the song knowing that it ended, knowing that it's over. So no matter what we look at her discography now of the past albums that might have documented this relationship, we know the ending.
And that's on period.
Dani, I love you so much.
All right. And then, the last 2 lines of this are, so long, London, you'll find someone. Do we have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's beautiful. I love the kindness of you'll find someone.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, as mentioned before, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but it doesn't, again, it's speaking to this person with respect.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a very beautiful way to reflect on this past relationship.
Yeah.
Not that you can't be bitter, angry, whatever. And I still think that there is like a little bit of bitterness in here, but it's not just bashing for the sake of, I'm just going to, release a diss track to make you feel bad whenever you hear about it. It's just, this is how I was feeling, but I hope that you move forward and that you find someone.
Right.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about a long-term relationship, generally speaking, obviously this is not always the case, but like this song to me suggests that there is a reverence for the relationship. There's a respect for it, which tells me, at least, again, this is my entry point into the song. I had a wonderful relationship for 6 years. I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I don't think I'm going to look back on this relationship and think what a waste of time, or why didn't I leave sooner, or why, there were so many problems and I like so many red flags. Like, my relationship was not toxic. It was very healthy. It was very loving. But there is a lot of emotion and pain and anger in the fact that it's ended. So I like that she's kind of acknowledging that love and respect of what we had wasn't like terrible. It wasn't like I regret the time we had.
Right.
And so I do wish you the best. I think that's a really nice stance to take.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like how, I know we just talked about this, about her kind of going back and forth. Like, I'm still going to speak my truth. At the same time, I'm happy for you, and I hope you find, no, well, I'm not happy for you, but I hope you find someone one day that is going to give you what you need, from a genuine, nice place.
Just recognizing that she couldn't be that person for him. I think.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there can be like not a double entendre, but like a layered meaning to it of like, you'll find someone encouraging, but also you'll find someone like disappointed. Like, I guess I wasn't that someone for you. Like, I do think there can be layers to that for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I'm not saying like my analysis of like this is not bitter.
There's definitely some bitterness in the song.
There is bitterness in the song,
Yeah.
but like I'm not saying that the you'll find someone is like her trying to move on peacefully. I think like there is like a little bit of a bitter tinge in that. Like, I couldn't be that person. I guess we'll find somebody next.
Yeah, I feel like we're going through the 5 stages of grief in this song, because then she says, I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Well,
Yeah, so she is a little,
like the next like
Yeah.
lyrics.
Pissed.
You're right.
Absolutely.
It's not, I don't think it's solely like, I'm good, I've moved on, I've accepted that we're not the right people for each other.
I did waste some time a little bit. There was some time wasted.
She definitely says like,
but
there was some youth wasted here.
But I also
like,
I also think that that's not the only way she feels about it. Like, Taylor has said in the past that like sometimes she writes a song about a feeling she had for 10 seconds and then she's over it. And then fans will then make a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing and she's just like, whoa, like, that was a fleeting emotion that I thought would make a great song.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily speak to like the full canvas.
Right,
So
like my entire feeling of this like whole relationship doesn't just get somebody.
yeah, so I mean, I guess
song.
I can't speak for her, so I'll speak for myself. I know
Right.
we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. I was in this relationship from age 24 on. So I obviously spent most of my 20s in this relationship. That's a lot of youth. I am sad that I spent that on a relationship that ended. I do feel that way. But that doesn't mean I also am bitter about the relationship as a whole. I can feel that bitterness in that moment, but I still think overall, and I'm only speaking for myself, I can't speak for her. There is like the nuance of I look back and it's not like I regret that time either, but I do feel that like, man, like I thought I would find my person in my 20s. It's not the end of the world that I didn't. But, yeah, so there's the bitterness, but there's also not like, well, that was a total waste of my time. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Shall we move on to that verse?
Sure.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I didn't opt in to be your odd man out. I founded the club she's heard great things about. I left all I knew. You left me at the house by the heath. Not the hearth, the heath. I stopped CPR after all. It's no use. The spirit was gone, we would never come to, and I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free.
I'm emotional.
I'm just gonna...
Yes.
I
okay.
love that verse so much.
Me too. We're off to the races with a Swiftie in contrast with like opt in to odd men out. Mm-hmm. The in and out of it all. Not an in and out shout out, but shout out to In and Out. I do love In and Out. Sorry. My brain just went there. But yeah, I didn't opt in to be your odd man out. I think is a beautiful way to say that, like, I didn't sign up for you to leave me out of whatever's going on, whether that's like emotionally or in his daily life or, just however that manifests. It's like, that's not what I signed up for. We're a partnership. We're a relationship. Like, why are you leaving me out? Right?
I have a question about the second line.
I have so much to say about second line.
Right. Because now we're bringing in a third character.
Yeah.
That there might have been like another girl or something.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Like, why are we bringing in this third character? Is this just, we're just telling a story? Like, what is the point when we don't really branch on the third character?
just really quickly,
Go
just
ahead.
a reminder of what the line is, in case you don't have the lyrics in front of you. It's, I founded the club she's heard great things about.
Yes. I actually don't interpret this as literal, as like there's a literal third person in this relationship. Mm-hmm. Again, it's just my interpretation. What I interpret this as is the very painful notion that when you spend a long time in a relationship with somebody, that you invest a lot into them, you grow a lot together, and that's all towards the hope that you might get married or stay together forever and continue growing in the same direction. And then they leave you, and then they get to go be a good man for someone else, as my girl Lord would say. Yes. And so that's kind of like, I invested so much in making you the man you are today, and you're just going to take that to the next girl, and all of that work was for nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so, I love that.
I actually have a note on that too. It's the feeling, I guess, of building that person up through their hardest days only to be discarded when they're back on their feet.
Yeah.
I remember hearing this, and there's a couple of other songs on this record that took me back to that, like, folklore, like that hurt that, like, I was really dealing with that, like, folklore album, which I didn't think was possible. Like, I think Evermore and folklore are kind of hand in hand with me, and, like, in summarizing, that's what those feelings felt like. And then Midnights was fantastic, but I feel like that was like me, like, moving past that, and I was, moving forward and not really thinking about that and reflecting on it too much, because Midnights was just, bedroom pop. It was just really fun to listen to, and there's deep things in that one too, but it didn't hit me the same way. And then So Long London comes out, and I'm hearing this verse for the first time, and I was just like, oh no. And yeah, it sort of stopped me dead in my tracks, because it hit me in that same way, because it just kind of reignited those feelings of feeling like I did all of this for you, and this is, nobody's obligated to stay with you after that, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying,
but I understand the feeling.
But it's the feeling of just like,
anyone can leave any relationship for any reason. That's their right.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It is painful to look back on all you did for each other, but also all you invested in specifically, and feel like, what was it all for? Yeah, I understand. Yes. Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, so again, another Swiftian contrast of I left all I knew, you left me. Like, she's taking the same turn of phrase of left and taking it somewhere unexpected. So obviously this is speaking to, like, the sacrifice of her relationship, and that could mean the literal, like, she is an American, she was living in England for quite some time, but also I think it's like, you throw yourself into a relationship, obviously your life changes. Like, who you are before that person is not who you are with that person, or who you are after that person. It's a very radical change, and even if you have the ability to maintain a life outside of the relationship, it's still a long-term serious relationship is a significant part of who you are. It, at least for myself, it permeated every moment of my life, like, in a good way, generally speaking.
Well, so. And you mentioned, like, this Tumblr quote, I think, like, in our very first episode, that I am a mosaic of all of the people that I've ever interacted with.
Or I've ever loved,
yes. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's relevant even, to this conversation here. Like, better or worse, like, relationships make you a different human after you experience them. So.
Definitely. Yeah. And so, yeah, just like that contrast of you left me at the house by the heath. So she's giving us a sense of place here, right? Like, she's giving us a literal neighborhood that she was living in. I was crying about it a lot earlier today, just like having to look at a space that I got with my partner that we, it wasn't a place I lived before him. We got it together. We lived there for almost 5 years. And for the time being, at least, it's going to become my place, not our place. So just like, I feel a lot about the notion of, like, you left me at this place that we got together. And she's calling it a house and not a home, because without him, I imagine it's no longer home. I mean, that's the whole point of the song, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's so long, London, now that this is over, So that one hurts me. I stopped CPR after all, it's no use. So this is a callback to You're Losing Me, which is a vault track from Midnights, right? So I stopped CPR after all, it's no use, I think is a tie-in to I can't find a pulse, my heart won't start anymore.
Okay, I was like, what's the tie? Yeah. What's the connective tissue?
And I also think like there's a heartbeat in the song as well. So just like you stop trying to resuscitate the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Ugh, God, it's hard to think about because again, like I'm just thinking about this whole thing, but it's hard to get to that point in the relationship where you both sort of know that it's falling apart. But again, you're sticking it out because you're waiting for that sort of quote unquote spark to come back.
Yep.
And then at some point, you're just kind of like, all right, well, I've done all I can do on my end. I'm not seeing like any actionable things that they're doing on their end, or, you know, they might be thinking that about you. You don't know. And you just sort of stop because, like it says, I stopped CPR after all, it's no use. Like there's no point to this anymore. Like, why am I even trying anymore? If you get to that point in a relationship, I mean, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, please don't stick it out. If you feel that way.
Yeah.
It gets hard.
Yeah. I mean, the spirit was gone. We would never come to it. Great line on multiple levels. Because the spirit was gone, I think it's, of course, referencing a ghost. Like your soul has left your body. Like you have died, right? The relationship has died. But also like the spirit was gone. Like the actual like spirit of the relationship, the effort, the like, you know, just what kept it alive, the flame between the two of them. Like that's gone too. The spirit for the relationship and the ghost itself.
Is spirit in anything in literature used as like a flame? Like, does it refer to like a flame that you know of? Because like question. Maybe like the spirit was gone. Like I'm thinking of like a candle flame like blown out.
Yeah,
or something.
It makes me think of like Charles Dickens, like A Christmas Carol. Like I'm just thinking of Scrooge, like and haunted by these three ghosts. Like away, spirit. Like that's what it makes me think of, which I don't think is relevant here. But yeah, I mean, I like the connection of spirit with. I mean, that makes me think as well of like. You know, if a presence enters the room, the candles blow out. Like that's your like
like it's
motif in a film of like, oh, something spooky is about to happen. Yeah. So maybe that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, I've spirit and flame. Like I feel like those go hand in hand. So yeah, you're cooking. You're onto something.
Yeah. I'm loosely in the kitchen.
Yeah. You have prepped the spices. You have diced the onions.
I maybe switch the stove on.
Yeah,
I'm not actively there.
You're in the prep phase, but we're going somewhere. We're gonna have a delicious meal. And then that last line, which we kind of already talked about. I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Just like a lot of youth was spent in this relationship, and for what? Like, are my best years behind me? They're not. For the record, but I understand that feeling, especially like our generation definitely, at least I did. I grew up with the notion of like, you get married in your 20s, you find your person in your 20s. Now that I'm 30, I'm like, oh, that's kind of insane. But,
right. You think about it now.
Yeah.
You know, me literally turning 33, like less than a week from now. And I'm like, I feel like such a child when I think of myself in my 20s. And I think about the fact that my parents got married and had me in their early 20s. Yeah. And I'm like, you had a kid at that point? No.
My grandparents got married at 18, 2 weeks out of high school. And then my parents got married when my mom was 26, I think. My dad's 10 years older, not in a weird way. They just have an age gap. And yeah, so I always thought I was going to get married at 26, like my mom did, or 28 even. I was like, maybe at 28, like maybe I'll wait a little bit longer. And again, no, you know, if you find your person in your 20s, I think that's wonderful. I'm not knocking that, but I just feel incredible. In our generation, you know, so many of us are having a later start in life because of the circumstances that we're inheriting on this earth with our economy, housing market, just like, you know, job creep, wealth concentrated at the top, not a lot in the working class, so just harder for more people to escape that arrested development because our society limits that more than it did for our parents and our
and that having an effect on dating
as
well, which is why a lot of people are finding that they're ending up in more casual situations.
Yeah, and just like the death of like third spaces after COVID. Like, I mean, there is this like male loneliness epidemic that's being discussed of like there's just less places to organically meet people, and dating apps create such an illusion of choice that people also have a harder time investing. And I mean, I met my last partner on a dating app. It's not that they don't always work, but they do make it more difficult in a lot of ways, that there are just so many options. But yeah, so it's all this to say, like, if you don't find someone in your 20s, you're going to be okay.
You're going to be fine.
I'm telling this to myself as well, but yeah. But I also understand the sentiment, especially growing up with like the expectation that I would be married in my 20s, that there is that kind of like, man, like I spent that on the wrong person. Shall we go to the next verse?
Sure. So again, this is like kind of the chorus coming back in, but it's a little different. So this time it is, for so long, London, stitches undone, 2 graves, 1 gun, I'll find someone.
So we have the progression from you'll find someone to I'll find someone.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I love the imagery of stitches undone too. Just something that was, you know, to just again like represented as like a very like visual way, like this thing that we wove together.
This thing that was tied together by an invisible string.
Oh, ow, Dani.
Yes.
Ow.
No.
She's looking directly at me because she knows it's my favorite Taylor Swift song.
Yes.
Yes, but this thing that we wove together, the stitches are now unraveling, the stitches are undone. It's, you know, it's come apart at the seams. Yeah. And I love that imagery.
Yeah, it makes me think of a tapestry, specifically, which, again, just my own visualization. But yeah, it's like you spend so much time building a history with somebody and building a future as well, like all these plans that you lay, and those stitches just coming undone. It just makes me sad.
Or they stitch up your broken heart from something previous, or previous notions that you had that they stitched up and healed are now
falling apart.
Falling apart or associated with them now too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ow.
Ouch. We reiterate from our earlier.
Yeah. These songs should come with trigger warnings.
Right. Oh my god. Do we put a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode?
I don't know. We did talk a little bit about 2 graves, 1 gun with like the Romeo and Juliet of it all, but I also just like want to say on a more literal plane, obviously 2 graves, 1 gun is like giving murder suicide, right? Like that's giving very like there's 1 gun that kills us both. But sorry, this is painful for me, but like in a relationship, like, and again, I'm projecting, I don't know what their relationship was like, but in a relationship that was really good, that was like really loving and happy and, you know, joyous, it's even if one person's ending it, it kills them too. And so that's just what I think of. It's like you one person is making this choice, but they're also facing the barrel of the gun. Yeah. So that,
I mean, my heart. I don't think a relationship breakup is ever easy for anyone.
No.
If you're the breakupper or the breakupee.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know how else to word that.
Dumper, dumpy?
That sounds weirder.
Dumper, dumpy.
Dumpy.
Were you the dumper or were you the dumpy? That's what I asked Emily when she told me that she broke up with her boyfriend.
But I'm the dumpy, guys.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
I didn't actually ask this to her. But now you guys have a question you can ask your fellow friends whenever they tell you that they broke up with someone.
I thought the question you ask is how did it end?
That's true. Oh my gosh, we went there.
Which, also really feeling that song right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's never easy on either end.
Yeah.
No matter what. Even if you were like, okay, I'm done with this, I'm pulling the trigger, I'm like ending it, whatever, it's never easy. Like, even if you are kind of on the up on your end, where you're like, I know that this is going to better me, and you've sort of made that peace already, it's never easy.
It's never easy.
It's never easy because you're two graves, one gun. Like, you're taking out two people.
Yeah. Especially, I think, any relationship, but especially a long-term one. Like, it's just, you
build your reality together.
Yeah.
For, X amount of years, and then
I think that's also the hard thing. Like, that's the two graves, one gun, is like, even if it's a bad relationship, even if it's a good relationship, it just hurts. So,
all right, just
shall we move on?
Yeah. Shall we move on? Okay. So the next verse, I think, is my favorite in the song, and it, like, right after it has one of my favorite moments. But I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So the next verse is, and you say I abandoned the ship, but I was going down with it. My white-knuckled dying grip, holding tight to your quiet resentment. And my friend said it isn't right to be scared. Every day of a love affair. Every breath feels like rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there.
Oof.
That hurt so hard.
Again, we are going through the 5 stages of grief, but I also feel like we are bells. Like, I'm swinging one way and I'm angry. I'm swinging the next day and I'm sad. I'm swinging the next. Like, I feel like I'm going on a seesaw.
Yeah.
Like bells.
I also was thinking, like, sermon. Like, you're at the pulpit and you're like,
wow.
I mean, I was not raised Christian, but, like, going to temple in the sanctuary, kind of similar. I guess you're telling a story. So I also think I hear that, like, echoing in, like, the cathedral. And you say I abandoned the ship, but I was going down with it. Like that. Oh. I feel like she's at the pulpit and she's preaching.
Again, where is the musical? Torture Poets Department. This is that moment when she is screaming to the audience.
The way that she's singing it, too, is just like, my white knuckle dying grip. Like, you can tell she's, like, when she was in the recording studio, I just picture her, like, just holding, like, balling her fists up, like, just so frustrated.
Meanwhile, she's just like,
I know.
she's just jamming.
I just picture her just, it's so good.
It is so good. I also want to shout out that, like, internal slant rhyme of tight and quiet, like, just how holding tight to your quiet resentment, like that. It's not a perfect rhyme, but it sounds really good. Yeah.
God, and then that couplet there. And my friend said it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair.
I also love, now that we're talking about this, it feels like a run-on sentence, holding tight to your quiet resentment. And my friend said it isn't, like, she's just like...
she's just getting it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... I mean, obviously speaks to, like, that feeling of paranoia. Is there someone else? Is this happening? So that's sad. Anytime she mentions her friends or, like, her mom, like, my mom said, get it off your chest, or my friend said this, or my dad said it's supposed to be fun. Anytime she brings in an outside person, I'm like, uh-oh.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Yeah, they're going to drop some truth that's going to hurt my feelings. Yeah. So that is the case here for sure.
Well, and just, like, again, like, being in that position, like I said, I'm not one to discuss, like, the woes of relationships with friends. Now I am. I think I'm more open about it now, but...
Which is good.
Which is great. You should do this. But if you bottle it up and just sit on it, it's not healthy. But when you're discussing it with friends, my friend said it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair. Like, it just being in that position of, like, your friends are telling you to leave, but you're like, I don't want to leave. I want to keep going because I know what this relationship was before these problems started happening. Maybe these problems were problems from the get-go, but now you're noticing them more or what have you. But it's kind of echoing that feeling of embarrassment. Like, I don't want to tell this to my friends because I want to only show them the good parts of what's going on with my life. I don't want them to be scared for me not being treated right or me, going through this horrible thing.
Yeah. It can be hard to be vulnerable about your relationship because your friends don't forget. A bestie never forgets.
We never forget. Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
Dani and I are the same. We have receipts for everything.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's filed away.
And I mean, that can be the hard thing too, is like, you still love this person. You're like, and everyone is so sensitive about that. Is like, do you want me to disparage? Do you want me to be supportive? And like, whatever mood you might be in the moment, it's still, your friends love you fiercely. And when you've been wronged, hard to let go of that. Hard to be cool about it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, also just like, you're not sure if he wants to be there. That's so heartbreaking. I'm sorry, I skipped over like every breath feels like rarest air, which is also a beautiful way to.
Yeah, so that those two lines, every breath feels like rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, so like to me, every breath is like every moment where the relationship is neutral or normal or good. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is like
it's a rarity.
It's a rarity.
It's another uncomfortable moment, like trying to drill the safe when you're around somebody that you just don't feel like wants to be around you.
Well, I said like walking on eggshells.
Yeah, walking on eggshells.
Like you don't know what's going to trigger the next like bout of sadness or like the next fight or the next.
Took a break to shop. If you want to know why it's a jumpy cut, it's because we needed to shop a drop. And yes, the drop was shopped. We secured the bag.
Quite literally secured bags.
Yeah.
Too, so
we did. We were shopping for bags.
Yes.
And we secured them.
I literally still have a website open because I'm contemplating throwing away more of my money on this site. So.
But what if you did?
But what if I did? Okay.
Sorry, we just took a break to do a midnight drop of Stony Clover.
Yeah. Yes.
Shout out to them. Thanks for sponsoring this video.
Wishful
thinking.
I wish.
Manifesting.
I wish.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's what you missed on the Swiftie Salon. We love to shop, unfortunately.
So we were getting to my favorite part. I don't know if it's like production. It probably is just like a production thing. But right after the verse that we just read, it's, I guess, let me read the verse, right? Let me just make sure.
Yes. This is my favorite part of the song. I'm just going to telegraph that.
Yes. So this part here. So how much sad did you think I had? Did you think I had in me? How much tragedy? Just how low did you think I'd go for I'd self-implode, for I'd have to go be free? So my favorite like production part, if I can speak on production for like a second, I don't know too much about it, but when I like things, I like to point them out. My favorite part is she just talked about every breath feels like rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there. And then the next, like, so how much sad did you think I had is like in the back. It almost sounds like she's gasping. It's like, in the back. So it's like, it's like that like
gasping
the
for
vocals
air.
are like
gasping for air.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it sounds like this like sort of crazy breathing thing that she's doing in the background, and I think that's so cool. So I don't know. I was listening to it on the way here to kind of pre-prep for this episode, and I was like, I need to shout that out. It's so cool.
Yeah, it feels like, and you say I abandoned the ship is like her getting ready to do this big rant. So she's like ranting, she's ranting. It's like a run-on sentence. And then when she gets to, so how much sad, like we're at the height of it. We're like, how much sad did you think? Like, you know.
And it's the Taylor questions. Like we're building like, and I feel like she's like shouting this, like, so how much sad did you think I had?
Yeah.
How much tragedy? Like how low did you think I'd go before I self-implode? Before I'd have to go be free. It's so desperate. It's so just like,
and now
what were you thinking?
Yelling at me.
Yeah, like what were you thinking? Like what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just like my little bit of like production love on this song. It's just that moment because it feels like a ragged breath in the background.
Yeah, it does. And I'm sorry, I spoke too soon. I was connecting this with the next verse.
No,
I do love this part because I love Taylor questions and I love the build of this, but the next verse is my favorite.
So just kidding. Scratch the part before that.
I highlighted the whole thing.
All right. So this verse, let's dive in. So it is, you swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? I died on the altar waiting for the proof. You sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. And I'm just getting color back into my face. I'm just mad as hell because I loved this place.
this one might make me cry.
Oh,
this is the one
goodness.
I feel the most.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? Wow, ouch. So, I mean, I'm gonna do my best to not talk about her life, but just talk about some connective tissue that I've noticed. Because in Lavender Haze on Midnights, there is this sentiment of, like, I don't need these patriarchal matrimony at, like, you know, marriage culture norms.
1950 shit.
Yeah, the 1950 shit they want from me. Like, she's kind of refuting the, like, you know, stop speculating if we're married. Like, that's not what I care about. And this is telling me, no, I cared. Yeah. And I relate to that because I thought I was going to marry my partner, and he knows that I thought that. So I just, like, you know, I'm realizing now that there should be some sentiment in your partnership. If marriage is something you want, like, you do not have to want marriage, but if it is something you want, you should be getting that from your partner as well. That should be something you're pretty aligned on.
I was going to say that needs to be discussed as, like, my eventual goal is to be married.
Right. Oh,
and yours should be to be married as well.
Yeah. What kills me about my relationship is that we had those conversations, so I thought we were on the same page. Yeah. And it turns out that I was wrong. So that's, I guess, what I'm learning from that is that it's more than just saying, yes, I will marry you. It's actually making a plan. And I'm learning that now.
Making a plan, or, like, again, those, like, actionable things like, that are going to make sure that you're bettering your relationship and not just...
Well, just also, like, timeline. Also just, like, sentiment of, like, yep, I see us getting engaged in 2 years. Or, like, hey, let's start the process. Like, I think we'll get engaged this year. You don't have to know when. It can still be a surprise, but you just know that it's coming. Like, that should be there.
Yes.
So it's like, where were the clues to me just signifies, like, yeah, you can say I love you, but what are the actions? You can assure me that you love me. You can assure me that you are in this, that you're not going to leave. But what about what you do?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just what you say. So that hurts my feelings. I died on the altar waiting for the proof. Double entendre, right? You have, like, the sacrificial altar where you go to make a sacrifice to your god. And then, of course, there's the altar where you get married. So she's dying on the altar like a sacrifice, but it's also like I picture her in her wedding dress waiting for, it's like he needs to come down the aisle and he's not. And so, like, waiting for the proof, like, that this was going to be a long run thing that...
Well, and that your promises weren't just empty promises, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm waiting for the proof that, like, this thing is, that you're saying is real.
Yeah, mentally, I'm there. Yeah. Mentally, I'm at the altar. Where are you?
Yeah.
You sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. So this gives me some callbacks to, like, false god, like the altar and false god, right? Yeah. And also just, like, that sentiment, even though false god is, like, I mean, that song is very sensual, but it's also kind of like, even if this relationship is not forever, let's pretend it is. Let's pretend it's holy, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a false god, I guess. And so, like, that, it reminds me of that. And, of course, bluest days. Blue is a color that she's used a lot to talk about her relationship, right?
Yeah.
And also, we've seen it on, like, Tortured Poets Department title track as well. This sentiment of, like, you're in self-sabotage mode. Or, like, I chose a cyclone. Like, these sentiments of, like, mental health getting in the way of something that could have been really good.
Right.
Right? So, I relate to that. And I'm just getting color back into my face. That's another "you're losing me" callback. Like, my face was gray, but she wouldn't admit that we were sick. And now...
I love that line. So
me too.
I'm just getting color back into my face.
The way she sings it. And I'm just getting
Again, it's like that gasping for air thing. And that's why I read it that way, is, like, it's like it's hard for her to get it out because she's just gasping for air.
Yes. Yeah.
The next line, "I'm just mad as hell because I love this place," is kind of like a reference to being stained of a place that you used to go to with your partner. especially if you loved it. There's a place, I've mentioned this to Lauren, where my ex-partner would go, and I would go stargazing. And it's perfect. It's right along the water, and you can hear the water crashing up against the cliffs, and there's oil rigs in the distance, and then there's stars are incredible depending on what time of year you go, and you can even see shooting stars. And that was our spot.
Yeah,
I'm a star girly.
Yes.
And we have had many a conversation about all kinds of things. I'm going to use the expression under the sun, but we'll say under the stars. And for a while, I was like, oh, I need to have a different memory here because it feels stained.
You have to reclaim
to reclaim it. So that's kind of what that reminds me of. I'm just mad as hell because I love this place.
Yeah.
And now it's stained with all these memories of us.
Yeah.
Good or bad, but it's just a statement.
But you think about them when you're there, and you're just like, God damn it, like it's tainted, and now it's...
Especially if you lived there and you owned a home she did.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's so painful. Go ahead, Lauren.
What was I going to say? I think I told this to Dani. I don't think I told it to you, but I obviously have a lot of memories with a very toxic ex-partner of mine in Los Angeles specifically. Yeah. A lot of the must-dos in Los Angeles I experienced with this person first before I moved here and actually became a resident of this city. And I'm doing a thing now where if the opportunity presents itself to go to these places with my girlfriends or with just by myself, I'm now reclaiming those spots back for myself with those new memories. And I definitely encourage anyone who's feeling this way about a particular place, take friends and just go and make a new memory. And it's so much nicer to think that. I mean, it takes time to get to that point, right? But it's been an ongoing multi-year process for me. And COVID kind of messed that up too. But it's been an ongoing thing that I've been trying to reclaim these areas, my London's for myself, and trying to make a new memory there, not only associated with this person that brought negativity into my life.
I agree with all of that. I agree with the notion of reclaiming the physical place.
Mm-hmm.
How I relate to this line as well, in addition to that, is, I guess kind of connecting to happiness. I haven't met the new me yet. You don't know yet who you are after this relationship. And where I currently am is just having to reconcile the fact that I loved my old life. I loved the life that I had.
Totally.
And I didn't see anything wrong with it. So it's against my will, I have to create a new home. I have to create a new place. So it's I'm just mad as hell because I loved this. I loved what we had. So yeah, there is that sense of anger, not just in losing the physical place and all the memories you share, but also
home being that person,
yep. Home being that life, and also the future. And yeah, just all of the things that are tied up in building a life with somebody and then losing it.
Place can also mean state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Just what it felt like to be with that person, to have that lifestyle. No matter what kind of person you end up with next, it'll never replicate that. Every relationship is unique and has its own little quirks and flaws and strengths and weaknesses. And, I think it's a normal thing to really mourn that when it's gone. So the last verse, the kind of outro, is just her saying, "So long, London, had a good run," and we're kind of getting back into the echoing, right?
The bells come back.
Yeah. Do you mind if I just read quickly?
Please, go for it.
So it's just, in plainly, it's "So long, London, had a good run, a moment of warm sun, but I'm not the one. So long, London, stitches undone, 2 graves, 1 gun, you'll find someone." Beautiful. Something I really like that I don't think is necessarily intentional, but it struck me, is the echoing with "had a good run," and then the "run."
Ooh.
It's just kind of haunting to me. I'm not saying that's she planned it that way, but it hits me. Same with the one.
Yikes.
Sorry. So, I mean, yeah.
Again, where is the trigger warning?
Sorry. And I mean, the reason I'm not saying this is like 100% intentional is because there's other echoes in this line that don't make as much thematic sense, like echoing sun, echoing London, echoing undone, echoing gun. Like, you know, that's not quite as poignant as like saying had a good run. Like that, you know?
Yeah.
And again, so I'm not trying to put that as like, this is textually accurate. She has a secret message for like, not at all. Mm-mm. I just personally like the double meaning of like, we had a good run, but also run. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's
like just, run, don't look back.
Yeah. Get out. Yep. Leave. So again, don't want to claim that as canonical, but it's just a little detail that I like. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and then the one, again, not saying this is like thematically tied to the one from folklore definitively, but I do like that callback.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, the stitches undone. Mm-hmm. 2 graves, 1 gun, you'll find someone is the last line. You'll find someone. So again, like that's why I'm saying like it seems like more respectful.
It does.
Than like I'll find someone being the last
and
line.
I think
like that would have totally changed it if the last line was I'll find someone.
I agree. And I think also a moment of warm sun, I think is talking about the relationship itself. It was good while we had it, but I'm not the one.
Temporary.
Yeah. Oh, this song.
Do you see how we can dissect a song without paternity testing? Do you see how we can do that?
Thank you. I mean, it's hard. It's definitely
hard. And I encourage you all to do the same.
Listen, I'm not trying to start fights. It's just something, it's for me, I'm like, if I were somebody who had millions of people invested in my personal life because I write about my personal life in my work, I would still want them to focus on the work. So that's where it comes from for me. But, you know. Yeah. Yes, we're trying. It's hard when so much personal life is in here, but we're trying.
So we wanted to do something fun to bring ourselves back up and rank Taylor's top 5 tracks, 1 through 11. So we are including So Long London, but we are not including How Did It End from the anthology.
Yes, so. We'll re-rank.
We'll re-rank them
once we get to that. Yeah, but since we're at So Long London, I think we should do it. So.
Who wants to go first?
I want to go first.
Okay. Go off.
Okay, guys. I'm just going to 1 through 11 it, and then maybe I'll do some explanations if I feel called to. Okay. Because I know there's going to be a shooter for every ranking.
I know. So again, like what happened with our like rank the albums.
Right.
Just our personal opinions. If you don't agree, great. I love that people don't all have a unanimous decision on what their favorite top 5s are, but these are our own personal opinions. You never know. It might change when we open up the anthologies.
Exactly. I ranked mine based on, because I love them all actually,
but same here.
Yes. Right. It was this was extremely hard. And if you do this for yourself, you're going to be like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Yeah. I encourage you to try and understand how difficult it is.
But actually, genuinely, can you guys please rank your track 5s in the comments?
That would be fantastic.
We would love to chat.
So interested.
We'd love to chat with you all about it on Patreon or YouTube. So please hit us up and let us know.
So I ranked these based on my own experiences, how I've related to the song. Was it production? Was it lyric? Was it my experience with the song? Whatever. But this is my ranking. So number 1, You're on Your Own, Kid. Number 2, My Tears Ricochet. Number 3, The Archer. Number 4, So Long London. Number 5, All You Had to Do Was Stay. Number 6, All Too Well. Number 7, Delicate. Number 8, Tolerate It. Number 9, White Horse. Number 10, Dear John. Number 11, Cold as You. You're on Your Own, Kid is one of my favorite songs in her entire discography. Not my favorite. I don't have a favorite. They're all my favorite, but this is one of my favorites.
This is like a top track when I think of Dani's favorite Taylor songs.
Yeah,
like, You're on Your Own, Kid is definitely up there.
I had to. And I really do want to get the line tattooed. Everything you lose is a step you take. It's so bad. And if you have that tattoo, I'm gonna rip it off, but also Cheers, Midnight
Is
Girly.
Dani on a watch list?
For legal reasons, she will not do this.
Yeah. My Tears Ricochet, just beautiful. The Archer, So Long London. All you had to do was stay, love. I don't think I have an explanation for why my favorites are my favorites or why these track fives are in my top five. I have more to say about the bottom because that was hard. I am a debut girly. I love Cold As You. And the reason why it's so low and it's last is because she's 16 and this can resonate. I've never been anywhere as cold as you. Or now that I've been thinking it through, I've never been anywhere as cold as you. Like that's a crazy line to write at that age. That is so amazing. And I love this track five, but it's, there's 10 other albums that have better track fives to me.
Something has to be 11.
Something has to be 11, exactly. And why Dear John is so low, I'm gonna get probably reamed for that.
Funny.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything for me, but that bridge, whoo, and Taylor's version when she sings that oh right after the bridge, 10 out of 10. But I did not make this last, but I made it number 10 just for the bridge alone. I love that bridge. And I think that's all I'll say about this. What I do want to say is I love every single song, but I am a little burned out of some of the Eras Tour songs. Sure. So I would like to revisit this maybe a little bit down the line from a break of the Eras Tour. Yeah. I love every song again, but I am a little burned out of those specific songs. So I think that's why Delicate and Tolerate It didn't really get a fair chance, and All Too Well especially, is because I'm just a little burned out.
Well, maybe even when we do re-rank these, sorry, we're like trying to look at each other. When we do re-rank these, when we visit the anthology, maybe by then, like, you'll switch them up. So
exactly.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we record, obviously this audience is seeing this recording way after the fact, so you don't know, I guess, where we're at, except for sometimes you do. I don't know, we might mention it, but it's going to be interesting because it's going to take a lot of time for us to get through. Not only this, like, standard album, but also to get there for the anthology.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Emily, what is your ranking?
Okay, well, first of all, can I spoil Lauren's ranking really quick? Because I had something to say.
Yeah, do you want me to go next and then you can comment on it?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. So my ranking is number 1, All Too Well. Obviously, it's the song that literally made me a Swiftie. We've discussed this before in our first episode. I shouted her out and I will shout her out for a billion years. So yep. I love that song. Number 2, My Tears Ricochet off of Folklore. Number 3, Tolerate It from Evermore. Side note, we mourn her loss of that performance from the OG run of the Eras Tour. Number 4, So Long London from Tortured Poets. Number 5, The Archer from Lover. Number 6, You're On Your Own Kid from Midnights. Number 7, All You Had to Do Was Stay from 1989. Number 8, Delicate from Reputation. Number 9, White Horse from Fearless. Number 10, Cold As You, debut. And my number 11 is Dear John from Speak Now.
Dear John, get behind me. Okay, so, can I just say this?
Yeah, so I can say why I ranked it low, but yes, go ahead. Go for it.
Both of you have clearly never been terrorized by a man named John at age 19, and it shows. It just shows, okay?
I mean, this is true. Yeah.
Because I was. So I can't accept this. I was terrorized by a man named John when I was 19. So I just can't. I can't with this. So how did they not have that experience, Swifties?
Listen, I can acknowledge you're shining like fireworks over your sad. I'm shining like fireworks over your sad empty town.
I know, but I'm just like, I just thought every girl was terrorized by a man named John. And I thought that was a universal experience.
No, I mean, no, but my reasoning for ranking it number 11 on my list, and again, like, I'll revisit this when we get to the anthology, and who knows, it might change. But my personal reason is I don't love the specificity of calling this person out by name.
Okay. I mean, again, that
that
era of Taylor was...
Yes, that era of Taylor was crazy.
Complimentary, in a great way.
Holy moly, yeah. And I mean, again, it's just something that she wouldn't do now, but that she did then, right?
Yeah.
So it is a moment in time of, like, the type of like artist that she was.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I don't love the specificity. Like I love the like for me, you know, my top 3 All Too Well, My Tears Ricochet, Tolerate It. And even Solo in London. Like I love like these things that like it's not naming someone specific. I can relate it to whomever I need to relate it to. And it's not tied to that one specific person that's getting called out. So like that's just my thinking on it. Again, I was never terrorized by a man named John.
So not a fan of having a name in a song.
Yeah, I don't love like the name in the song.
Okay.
Not to say like something like Clarabow, like that's fine. But like
sure.
if it's something that is
you're calling
very
out
clearly like a bitter song and you're calling that person specifically out by name, I'm like,
okay, but hear me out though. Like Dear John itself is kind of like a framing device. Like Dear John is a phrase. It's not just Dear John, the muse of the song. That's that's a
there's Dear John Doe?
No, there's like I have to pull into the archives of my brain for this, but there are like songs that are also called Dear John that are like in the choral universe. Like it is kind of a reference. It's not just a direct call out.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just know that she also did mean it as a call out.
Of course, but she was being a little clever about it.
So that's just why I put it there. It's just personally, I don't I don't want to involve myself in like your personal business.
Sure.
So like it's just kind of like forcing me to at that point a little bit because
okay.
But it's not to say that it's a bad song because it's a great song.
Yeah.
It's just for me on my rankings of like the track 5s that like hit me like just kind of with the most impact. For me, it's the lowest one because I just don't love it.
I respect how you feel. Like I'm being silly. I genuinely respect that.
We're not losing a friendship over this.
No, not at all. But I mean, I want to say I think your reasons are actually very legitimate to like the naming reason and also what I want to say though about the specificity of it that I really like is she's describing a relationship that has power dynamics in it, that has an element of like, you took advantage of me because of my youth and because of my age.
Yep.
I think that happens to a lot of women, and I think it doesn't get called out. I think it is normalized. So I like the specificity because I would like that to be more unacceptable. And I think it was incredibly brave of Taylor to, at that age, because it took me years to be able to talk about this for my John. It is incredibly brave of her to call out, this was kind of messed up, what you did.
Yeah, Emily and I have talked about this. We both had a John at 19. Yeah.
And something about that age where it's like, you are a legal adult, but are you? Like,
but
are
like, just
you?
Barely.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like the most mature person in the entire world. But was I?
But then you think
did
about,
I know what
like,
was best
you
for
at
me?
19 now.
You're like, that's a baby. And it's
Right.
like, it also makes me think of that like Demi Lovato song, like 29, where she's like finally 29. Like I would have never been interested in someone who was my age when you were 29. Like that, I'm paraphrasing the lyrics, but just that sentiment of like, you get to that point. I mean, I'm still not the age that my John was when
Same
he
here.
came. I'm still younger.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom it. I can't fathom it. So, I just like, I definitely respect your opinion. I'm not trying to invalidate it, but I'm just saying the reason why I really like it is because for me, that was really cathartic.
Yeah. And for me, like, maybe it is that I didn't have a personal experience.
I'm so glad.
My gosh. When I was 19, I was still dating my very first boyfriend.
Okay.
So we were basically married. Like, we were together for like almost 10 years. It was crazy.
Wow. Anything else you want to say about your track 5 rankings before I go into mine?
It's funny. So again, extremely difficult to like be very cutthroat with this. But yeah, I think like my top 5 fell into place very easily for me.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that like I play and then they hit me in a way that's like different than the other ones. I'm so sorry to Dani that You're on Your Own Kid is not in my top 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's just shy. It's number 6.
Okay.
That one was the hardest one to place, actually.
I put All Too Well at 6.
Oh, look at that.
Look at, you see what,
And
two
All Too
different
Well's
girlies.
Yes.
There are
Yeah.
2 different girlies out there.
Yeah, what side of the spectrum are you on?
Are you a Dani or a Lauren?
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to know. But yeah, and I was telling the girls that I made a playlist of all the track 5s just so that I could listen to them all and just be really cutthroat about this when I was doing this ranking, because that was our group chat, was just me complaining about how hard this was. And My Tears Ricochet is sort of tied with All Too Well, if I'm going to be real with myself.
Yeah.
My Tears Ricochet made me cry so hard. So hard. Just a couple days ago. And I was like,
Same.
I don't think this song made me cry about that situation in years. But for whatever reason, I was sitting there and just, drawing at the time. Probably drawing an illustration that you folks will see soon. But just drawing, and I had to literally stop because I was like feeling tears like well up behind my eyes. I was like, okay, clearly there's some unprocessed stuff that is still lingering back here. So yeah, All Too Well and My Tears Ricochet are the like hand meeting meme for me personally. So it's hard to like rank them when there are some that are tied for me. Yeah. And that's all I'll say.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, mine are. Number 1 is My Tears Ricochet.
Yep.
Number 2 is All Too Well. So I also
is incredible.
have those tied. I swapped the order, and I'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah.
Number 3 is You're On Your Own, Kid. Number 4 is Dear John, and number 5 is So Long London. But I made this list before last week, and now I might swap those, where So Long London is 4 and Dear John is 5. I don't know. Either way, they're both in my top 5. We'll see what happens with How Did It End. I am honestly terrified. So number 6 is Delicate. Number 7 is The Archer. Number 8 is Tolerate It. Number 9 is White Horse. Number 10 is All You Had to Do Is Stay. And number 11 is Cold As You. So let me talk about this just a little bit. My Tears Ricochet, I think, is some of Taylor's best writing, period. I actually didn't really relate to that song before. I do now. Mad about it. But I just think it's some of her best writing. It's an incredible track 5. All Too Well, I think, is her crowning Swiftian song. Many people think it's her magnum opus. I don't disagree.
It's stunning.
It's stunning. And I just love that song. So that's number 2. You're On Your Own, Kid. Same thing, makes me cry. And just, I feel that too. My dreams aren't rare. I feel that. So, it's a beautiful, like, memoir song, but it also relates to so many people. I've talked about Dear John and So Long London. I'm going to call out Tolerate It because I feel like my putting it at number 8, which I think you might have as well, might be controversial. And I think I'm going to get crucified for this, but I'm going to be brave. Tolerate It is a little too straightforward for my taste.
Okay. A little too literal.
A little too literal.
Okay.
It's a compelling sentiment. I think it's a very relatable sentiment. I didn't care for it on the Eras tour. I didn't like it on the set list. I know the performance is beautiful. I know this is probably my most controversial take.
They called me out for not having a John
call me out.
At 19. I'm calling you out for not having a Tolerate experience because that was the entirety of the last 2 years of my really toxic relationship.
No, I can relate to I can relate to Tolerate It.
saying,
I can definitely relate to it. I just don't, the song itself is kind of too slow for me, and the performance itself is kind of too slow for me.
I was actually pretty shocked to see it on the Eras.
Yeah, I was too.
I was like, wow, she's actually performing Tolerate It.
My favorite part is the piano intro, actually. The instrumental that her pianist, Karina De Piano, which is an amazing name, does before the performance actually begins is my favorite part of that.
It's
but, like,
stunning,
the song itself, I'm kind of like, that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did love the original contrast from Tolerate It to Reputation from the US leg. That was crazy work. Loved that.
Goodness.
That was so
fun. We'll discuss that during an Eras episode, but Dani, please speak.
Getting emotional hearing that song, having a pause, and then hearing a snake hiss is the best thing that's ever happened in human history.
I was standing that entire Eras tour concert. I nearly collapsed to my knees. That was crazy.
That, and like seeing that on night 2 when I didn't know what was going to happen, I lost my mind. So that's a great moment.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a hater. It's just not to my taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then All You Had to Do Was Stay. 1989 is one of my favorite albums. I think that's like one of her least personal track fives. It's like not, it's a good song, but it just doesn't quite go to the places that the other ones do. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's number 10.
It's like that fun thing with like My Boy where like I'm shaking my butt, I'm dancing.
Yeah, we're in the club.
Bops, but like it's a tragic bop, you know?
Yeah.
Like I like that song to dance to, but it's not like it's not the one that I put on when I like want to let out some feelings.
Yeah. So those are our track fives. Would love to hear yours. Would also love to hear your thoughts on So Long London and if you agree with any of our analysis. So
yeah, and thank you if you made it this far, being it our longest episode. We love you. Thank you for all the support.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for letting us be vulnerable as well. I know you didn't really give us permission, but we did it, and we appreciate We appreciate having the space. So if you heard us out, thank you for that.
And if you are going through the same thing, we are sorry. We are with you, and please rely on your circle if you need to.
You are safe here in our salon as well. So
totally. Don't think that you can't talk it out with someone. I encourage you to speak about it with folks who are close to you because it does really help.
Being open is how you let it go.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Being open is the way that you do let it go.
Yeah. So thanks for letting us do that here. Please come be part of our circle, come be part of our salon, and we'll see you on the next track.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, the party hand's cute. I sit and watch you.